Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So for today I have an updated eyebrow routine. I am posting this because it has been a minute since I've done one of these. Also because I have something different going on with my eyebrows as of recently, which is they are laminated. So if you guys aren't familiar with what brow lamination is, it's basically like a hair relaxer for your eyebrows. It is a service that I now perform on clients, and it's definitely something that's still fairly new, but it's definitely picking up a lot of attention. You can basically have the ability to style your eyebrows in any direction that you want them to without having to use things like the soap brows or Elmer's glue or anything else that, we've kind of been using in the past to really stick our brow hairs up or lay them however way they want them to lay. For this tutorial, instead of just jumping right into the brow filling in part, I'm actually going to show you a little bit of how I laminate my brows. Don't take this as a how to laminate your brows at home tutorial, because it is not that, and it's something I would not recommend doing. If you're going to do it at your own risk. Just like any other thing that you can get done professionally, I'm sure there's a way you can find to do it at home, which, that's on you. But my only thing is not to do it yourself, because one, products vary. A lot of people are using lash lift kits to do the brow lamination, which, can be a hit or miss from what I've seen. Also, it is actually a little tricky to work the brow the way you have to work it when you're doing the lamination, which is why when I'm doing it on someone, they're laying down, it's just a much easier access for me to get in there. And even on myself, it is very, very hard to do. It's definitely not as easy as it is when I'm doing it on someone else. And then on top of that, depending on what look you're going for, if you're wanting that nice trim look, like which I did this time around, or if you're wanting the feathered look, the trimming can be a little difficult doing it on yourself, especially if you're like right or left-handed, whatever side's more dominant, stuff like that. So my recommendation is it's worth just going to someone who can do it for you, just like every other beauty service. So anyways, let's get on to this routine. So I'll show you clips of my brow lamination and tinting that I did, and then we'll hop into the actual brow filling in part. So as you can see, my eyebrows are, if I brush them up, they still stay up for the most part, but I do have quite a few hairs that already have gone back to normal after the lamination. And basically that's what happens. Once the lamination starts to wear off, your hairs just basically go back to normal. They'll lay how they used to, and there's no like harm or damage, I guess you could say. It's not like, oh my gosh, once I get it done, I can never go back. That's not the case. You can definitely just let the lamination wear off and they'll go back to normal. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of an adhesive and I'm going to just push all my hairs up. So once all the hairs are pushed up, I'm going to be using the first solution. So now I'm going to remove that solution. While this is processing, I'm going to prep my tint so that it's ready to go right after this. Okay, so I'm going to remove this covering now. And then using the shampoo that my kit has and a cotton round, I'm just going to remove the excess solution. So now I'm going to apply the tint. I am using a black tint on my brows because my hair is dark. To me, this is the hardest part because wherever you place the tint, it's going to stain your skin. So you really want to make sure you get the shape on nice and not have, crazy misfigured brows. So I'm gonna do the same on the other brow and then let that sit for about 10 minutes before I wipe them off. Doesn't this look lovely? Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes for my right eyebrow, so I'm gonna begin to remove the tint from this side. So like I said earlier, I'm going to be trimming my eyebrows because I feel like they're getting a little too long for my liking. So since you can't wear anything on them or touch them for 24 hours, I can still wear makeup. I just, can't put any brow makeup on. So if I wear makeup today, I'll just work around my brows. So tomorrow I will show you the final result and then we'll begin the actual brow tutorial. Okay, so we are now the next day and it's been 24 hours. I just showered and time to show you guys how we start off this brow routine tutorial. So these are my brows, freshly laminated, tinted. So the first step in doing my brows involves outlining the base of my brow. So I'm first gonna be taking a concealer brush. This one is from Cala. I believe I got this off of the Shop Miss A website as well. And it is the Concealer 513. It's very similar to the MAC 252 brush that I use in my makeup kit with my clients. So with this brush, I'm gonna take a pea size, not even a pea size, maybe even, like half a pea size amount of this P. Louise base. You can use a concealer. I just recommend using something that is full coverage and matte. So once I have a small amount, which I even think that this might be a little too much, but it's fine. I'm gonna take my brush and we're coating both sides of the brush. I like to coat both sides because it's kind of like if I'm sharpening it. So what we're gonna do is we're basically going to hold the brush as flat as we can against our skin. And begin to carve out the base of our eyebrow. Important to have your mirror down, because if you're like this, it's going to be really hard for your brush to get in here. I kind of like to have my mirror lower so my eyes go down, making my eyelid go down. Please ignore my eyelash residue. And don't feel like you need to get it all in one sweep. You can definitely go section by section. And now I'm going to do the same on the other side. So once the bases are both carved out, I'm actually going to just kind of leave it like this. You can choose to prime your whole eyelid already if you're going to do an eye look, but for today I think I'm going to just do the rest of my face and do something pretty simple on the eyes. So once I'm done with the rest of my face, I will be right back to show you the rest of this brow routine. Okay, so now I am at the point where I'm going to do my brows. Basically everything's done, I just need my lipstick too, but brows are next. So for the brows, obviously I was able to do my eyeshadow and everything. That's kind of why I like outlining the base first and then priming my lid and doing my eyes and all that and leaving the brows for last, because the lamination has cut down my brow routine so much that I like just saving it till the end and I get it done pretty fast, like relatively fast. If it wasn't for me filming this video, I'd probably have my brows done super fast. So I actually will go back and forth between different products that I use. I know I had just uploaded a TikTok where I use my Benefit Ka-Brow, and it's a pomade and I love using that along with the Benefit Brow Brush. I think for today though, I'm going to be using my Anastasia Dip Brow. So either one I would recommend. You can use Dip Brow, you can use powder, you can use pencil too if you want. It's totally up to you what you want to use on your brows. But if you're someone that's using pomade or a powder, this tutorial might be more helpful for you. So here is the Dip Brow. I am going to be using the shade Ebony because my hair is pretty dark right now. And for the brush, I'm actually using this one from Crown Brushes. It is their C160 1/4 is what it says on the handle. So just your typical angle brush. I do like to use something on the thinner side when doing brows. So again, I'm going to just brush through my brow hairs because you definitely want to make sure they're all lined up in the same direction. Like how I sharpened up my concealer brush, I like to do the same thing with my brow brush and my brow product. It's basically something I just like doing anytime I'm using a cream product. So what I'm going to do is kind of like how we laid the brush flat when we were carving out the base. I'm actually going to do the same thing, but lay it flat, going from the top, still holding my mirror down, and again, just kind of lining up the base. So here, the brush is there, and I'm actually pushing up. Ooh, probably went a little too up there. Up, up, up. Now that my brush doesn't have as much product as it had on a minute ago, I'm going to work my way to the front and do the same thing. So up, up, up. And I'm really only focusing on the base of my brow. Yeah, I definitely went way too high there, but that's okay. I'll clean that up with concealer right now. I definitely want to still keep my beginning of the brow lighter than the tail, so I'm taking up more product on my brush, fresh again, and doing the same thing. And then before I clean up anything, I'm just going to take my spoolie once more and brush through. My brows are a little different this time around because I did decide to trim them down, so they're actually a lot thinner than what I normally would have them. Whereas when I had them untrimmed the last time I laminated them, they were very, very feathered, so I actually would just push all the product throughout my brow and it would just kind of go with the longer hair that I had. But now that they're thinner and they're definitely sharper because of the way I trimmed them, I'm going to clean up the top. So to do that, I am taking the same brush that I had lined up my base with, and I'm taking just a tiny bit of my foundation. You don't want to use concealer or something that's not going to match the color of the foundation on your forehead. I even think that's too much. And I'm basically just going to clean up the top of my brow. So now that that's cleaned up, I'm just going to kind of pat and blend everything out. I'm going to go ahead and do the same to this eyebrow. So honestly, I just love that it's a little bit darker than what my brow is actually looking like with just lamination. Now both brows are filled in, and last step is going to be just setting them with some brow gel. So I'm going to be using the Benefit 24-Hour Brow Setter and literally just brushing this through my brows, brushing all the hairs up in that direction that they're set in. So there you have it. This is my current brow routine with my laminated brows. If you guys have any questions, please feel free. That came out weird. Please feel free to ask me in the comments. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe if you aren't already to my channel. Don't forget you can follow me on my socials, which are linked down below, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.